Let's unmute and mute the mic first. It is another Falls Friday night here on Facebook Live. I'm Jonathan Hull, sports writer from Times Record News, alongside Nolan Clark, founder of 940 Game Day in the middle, Zach Duncan, owner of Red River Roundup, on the right side. And man, hey, there is one night left of state semifinal games. Tomorrow night, Saturday, you get the 4 6A games that will take place. And then, guys, we are truly into state championship week. Man, what a journey to get here. But let's get right to what we have from the state semifinals. You'll see across the ticker, we have every game that's being covered. But the one team that's that's left from any of our coverage areas, and I think even Zach and I are, adopt Munster to a degree, while they may be 9 miles outside the designated area. I mean, Munster feels like one of our area teams as much as we cover them and the way we've gotten to get to know Coach Carney. But, hey, the Hornets survived, and they are back to AT&T Stadium playing for a state championship to defend their title. Uh, Guys, I know, Zach, you were busy. You were out you were in Iowa Park covering a game. Nolan, I know you were keeping up with it online. I was too, kind of following along with Stephen Garcia's tweets, Lubbock Avalanche Journal journalist who took care of that one. But yeah, Munster scores late and pulls that one out. Nolan, your thoughts on the Hornets being back at state?
Yeah, they definitely got Gruber's best punch. They, like you said, had to score the go-ahead touchdown in the fourth quarter, but that's what state champions do. And they faced the adversity there late in the game and found the way to get it done. So props to Munster.
Yeah, so they won 21-18, but I think at one point they're down 18-14, and Gruber's driving. Like, Gruber's in the red zone. It's looking like Gruber might go up 2 scores, early fourth quarter. And Munster had a big defensive stand in the red zone. He got a stop and then scored. I believe it was that Cunningham kid that had a big reception in the Lindsay game when it was 20-14. It was really close. And he popped one like a 70-yarder. He had another big play the other night and won him the game. I think it came with about 6 minutes left. Like I said, I was at Hamilton, West Texas last night, but I think the Groover kind of drives down again, and again Munster defense with 2 big stops in the fourth quarter. And here, so they're going to play Shiner. Shiner beat Mountain Enterprise 28-8 tonight. When Mountain Enterprise has been scoring, 60 points a game. They're going to have to win with defense again because Shiner's not going to let Munster score that much. This is going to be, I think last year, what was the score, like 35-29? Or, I mean, it was kind of a not high scoring game, but kind of like an average scoring game. I think if Munster's going to win this game, I don't think it's going to be another 35-28 type of game. I think it's going to be another maybe Groover type game, 21-18. It's just, but Munster's defense, we saw him against Lindsay make some big stops, and then last night sounded like they kind of won the game for him.
You mentioned Mount Enterprise. Mount Enterprise was averaging 62 points per game going into last night, and Shiner 28. It says a lot about Shiner's defense, which, I mean, this isn't just like a spur of the moment deal. Like, they've been limiting team game, but to do that against a Mount Enterprise, again, that offense, what they're averaging, but again, what we know about Mount Enterprise, which is Ponder and the types of offenses that he has manifested over his career, including at a state championship at Petrolia, and then of course really laying the foundation of what was a great rider program that was constantly a regional threat over the last 20 years of its existence. That's a big feat for Shiner. They got my attention. That's for sure. And so, yeah, I agree. It's going to be a defensive game for Munster, but they've really succeeded at forcing turnovers throughout the playoffs. We saw them do that against Lindsay. Seemed to get something timely at the there. They send up the bend but don't break thing too with Lindsay, right? They were able to make the big play whenever they needed to, and then pull away late in that game. Yeah, no, I can. Nolan and I were talking about before we came on. Like, can we pick against? Can you pick against Munster? Can you pick against Shiner? Like, that's a really tough game to pick, right? Like, that's like I don't know who's winning that game. So I think we're in store for really just a kind of almost like a classic state championship game between those two in the 2A division, Division Two there.
Yeah, I'm looking at Pigskin Prep right now. It's going to be whatever the spread is. It's going to be pretty close to pick 'em, I think. So that should be a really good game. Really good games tonight, and I was out in Frisco Panther Creek coaching, so I missed. I saw the end of Salina Stephenville. The first game that was kind of a really good game, set the tone for the night. I think some of y'all were keeping up with it. Was Gunter Wall, and man, if you told me. And we'll talk about Frisco Lone Star Lido because that was like next level stuff. But if you were
Yeah,
gonna, but if you're gonna tell me like what are the two best games that you want to see tonight, I would have said Gunter Wall and Stephenville Salina. And up until Lone Star came back for that crazy comeback, I mean those are two of the best games tonight. Gunter loses. Not the the 4-peat chance is over. Gunter lost 28-25. I think y'all were keeping up with that, but it sounded like Wall got out and Gunter came back. What did y'all see from that one tonight?
Yeah, from my end, I didn't watch any of it. I had Victory Plus up, flipping back between the Alito and Broad games, so I was kind of relying on tweets for this game. But yeah, Wall immediately had two good drives, but they were only able to get field goals, so it was kind of a big win for Gunner. I know early on I was kind of thinking you can't win with field goals, especially against defending state champs Gunner. Wall ended up going into the halftime with a 14-0 lead. I don't know exactly what happened, but Wall had an absolute disastrous third quarter. Gunner ended up coming back, going up 21-14. I sent the message in the group chat. So, man, here we go. It's going to be just like last year. They're going to collapse in the second half, and Gunner's going to find a way to win this game. And then Wall, about mid-fourth quarter, Wall was able to score a touchdown, go back up, and then they were able to capitalize on a defensive touchdown by scooping up a fumble in the end zone to solidify it. Gunner did make it interesting there. In the end, they did score, get the 2-point conversion to make it a 3-score game, and they got the ball back in under a minute to make it interesting. But, yeah, congratulations to Wall. They're moving on to play Arlington next week.
they got the ball back to make it interesting, but I mean, they got the ball back, in that last minute, that last punt.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
By Wall set Gunner that pinned them on their own 2-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
So phenomenal. Make it, I mean, about as tough as it could get for Gunter. And so, yeah, this is a huge deal for Wall. First time there since 2013. They were close to kind of taking down that giant, that Goliath, and I don't want to. I understand that people are sick of Gunter and it's just real easy to pile on and say terrible things and ludicrous things, if you will. I think we all know what that is and just can give a sly smile about it. But there's just no Gunter's not the bad guy. Like, those kids are out there working as hard as anyone else. They're not bad. They're not the bad guys. You make them that because they win all the time, right? It's the same thing that we feel about Alito. You get tired of Alito, right? It's the same way that we felt about the New England Patriots when Tom Brady was there. It's the same thing that we feel about the Kansas City Chiefs now, with them always being there. It's overkill, right? We're tired of it. It's the same thing you felt about Alabama with Nick Saban and that dynasty. We want to see new blood. And Zach, you kind of wrote about it this week, how much you will take new blood in the state championships games rather than the same old blue bloods, than the same old teams getting there year after year after year. And we have some of that this year. Let's face it. We're always going to some degree. It feels that way. But no, like, when you looked at what you're getting out of that Class 2A Division 1 bracket, what you covered that game, being Stinnett, West Texas, and Hamilton, there are two teams trying to get to the state championship game for the first time in their program history.
Yeah, and Hamilton had been playing football since like the 1910s. Stinnett was a relatively new school, 1987, I think. That was a fun game. The score, shows 28-12. But it was a really close game. The score's a little deceiving. That game, I tell you, if you'd like said halfway through the first quarter who's going to win that game, I would have said, oh, it's definitely West Texas, because West Texas goes on a 6 minute drive, gets a three and out, and's got another 6 minute drive. They're basically about to go up two scores early second quarter, and Hamilton's only run like three plays, and Hamilton got a stop, a score, go into halftime up 7-6, go 14-6, and then kind of took over from there. But it was interesting because it's like late third quarter, Sinet goes to make it. It's going to be 14 all. It's 14-12, and they got the 2 point conversion, and they fumble it. And Hamilton runs it back 90 whatever yards for 2 points. And all of a sudden, it's like 16-12. Even though you gave up a touchdown, it's only like a 4 point swing instead of a 7 point swing. And Hamilton responded with a touchdown on the next drive and kind of went up two scores there. So yeah, I mean, it was a good game. Man, they both crowds brought it. If anyone who went to Hawk Stadium last night, definitely impressed. I mean, these towns are 3.5 hours apart. It was a school night. I mean, Hamilton's side was rocking. So, and they're gonna get. It looked like for a while I was writing that column at night, and I was like, I'm gonna write about how they're gonna get Refugio. Like they're gonna get another team that it'll be a big underdog because it's Refugio, and Refugio's up two scores mid fourth quarter against Joaquin or whatever, and they score the last 23. They score I already know how to say it. We were talking about this before we went on.
Joaquin, I know.
Joaquin. I messed myself up. But Joaquin scores 23 unanswered points in like the last 8 minutes or something and wins that game going away. So now Joaquin has never played for a state title, and Hamilton has never played for a state title. And yeah, there'll be some really good games. There's a Carthage, West Orange, Stark. There, but I'm telling you, and South Oak Cliff Randall should be great because that was a great game
Another
last year.
rematch. Yeah.
And you could have like I mentioned in my column today about you could have North Shore Duncanville again, which it feels like Fast and the Furious 8 or whatever. I mean, they just keep on
Right.
replaying.
Yeah.
They keep on replaying. Oh, there's another Fast and the Furious. Oh, there's another Duncanville North Shore game. But
Well,
but
they
you're gonna
casted
have
The Rock this time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's the same different player. But you're gonna have Hamilton and Joaquin,
Joaquin.
whatever, Joaquin. Um, you're gonna have them playing Wednesday night for first team to ever win a state title, and I think that's really cool. And so that makes it a lot of fun.
I agree. It is a lot of fun to see those teams that get there for the first time, to see those crowds and the energy that those programs get, and just what it means historically. And there was some of that last year. We were talking about like South Oak Cliff and Richmond Randall being a rematch from a year ago, and it feels like these teams are like old hats. But I mean, it's not lost on like these teams are, in the grand scheme of things, kind of brand new to just being in this spot where they're contending each year, which Randall's a very new school anyway, right? They won their first state title
Yeah.
last year.
And we had a
And
lot of teams win their first state titles because Columbus won their first state title and Randall
yeah,
won their first state title. I think Smithson Valley, which you felt like, oh, they haven't won a state
I know,
title before.
right.
Like I feel like
But they
they've been
did
there
last year.
forever.
No.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
had a lot of. I remember writing at the end of North Crowley, 6AD1. North Crowley won
Mm-hmm.
their first state title. So you had a lot of actually first time winners. Um, Will we have a ton this time? I don't think so, but we're gonna have one Wednesday night. And has Wall won a title? Wall's gonna have a chance against Newton. I don't know if they've won a title or
Yeah.
not, but
I don't know if
um,
I'll look that up real fast. I mean,
we got a fact
it's right here at our
check.
fingertips. Yeah.
Um, But the before again, because we gotta get to Lido and Frisco Lone Star, but the other semifinal that was really good tonight was Stephenville and Salina. And Salina had I think the 30 game winning streak, a defending state champ. Man, and Stephenville gutted it out. I mean, did either of y'all watch that one?
I didn't. Like I said, I was kind of relying on tweets and the score of the game. I kind of noticed Solana threw the first punch, and what we saw last week, I was kind of like, that's not good. That's not what you want to do. But yeah, it was neck and neck. Ended up being 21-21, like you explained it earlier ago. Solana had a chance to kick a field goal. There was the Bo Bentley injury situation. I saw a tweet where he had to come off the field due to injury, and then we saw Stephenville kick about 46-yard field goal with 2 seconds left remaining to win the game. So
Yeah, I saw the last 3 minutes from a parking lot in Frisco with when I was running to get my Panda Express. I was like, I'm gonna just wait and watch this before I go get the Panda Express. And yeah, Steve, it looks like Stephenville's gonna or Salina's going to. They get the ball like with 3 minutes left at midfield, and you feel like okay, they're gonna run the clock down and score. Bentley's run in and then he's out. He gets banged up, then comes back in, and they end up having to kick a field goal with like a minute 20 left, and they hook it. And then Salina's got, runs about 5 or 6 plays and gets down. The last play, the quarterback keeps it for 15 yards. It's a design pass. Probably got time for one more pass play. And then gets pressure and he steps up into the pocket, gets about a 15-yard gain, sets up a 46-yard, and the guy drills it. So kudos to that Stephenville kicker because he's the talk of the town this week, but or tonight. But yeah, I mean, sounded like it lived up to the billing. Both those teams had great years. One team's had a lot more off the field craziness than the other, uh,
Hmm.
for sure. But Stephenville, I mean, we've talked about the Stephenville team. It's good offensively, but also very good defensively, and they proved it again tonight. So now they're going to get to play Kilgore. That's going to be one of the Friday state title games. That should, I imagine, be a pretty good one. But yeah, big one for Stephenville. But I think some good games, some close games tonight. Um,
Well, I think
Grandview
we
beats
got to
Feaster.
touch. Yeah, that one's what I want to bring up. I mean, again, kind of
Yeah.
almost fringe for us to a degree because Peaster is in one of our local districts, and so we've spent a lot of time talking about Peaster. We've all seen Peaster play, and man, what a season, historic season for Peaster. That defense is absolutely legit. Grandview seems like they found something here late in the season, and man, that's a program with a championship pedigree, and that speaks volumes. But Peace and I've said all along, man, that classification, that division of 3AD1 is wide open to me, and I felt like it's the most wide open division in the state all year long. Although now 2A Division One's trying to force its way into that argument too, but uh, it was just a great year for Peaster, and hats off to them. I know all three of us left very impressed by that team. And just because you don't win a state title game or you don't get to the state championship game, I think this is lost at every level of sports competition. That doesn't mean you weren't a state championship contender. That doesn't mean your team wasn't capable or worthy of having that claim. Like that Peaster team had state championship potential. There's no doubt in my mind they could have ended up winning it all. But there's other teams who have that ability as well. And at the end of the day, there's only one that gets to do it.
Yeah, and they'll always have obviously going to Arlington would have been awesome, but like they'll always have that last minute win against Paradise at a packed Springtown, stadium. Like those are memories that are gonna last those kids. I mean, they're gonna be talking about that game for 50, 60 years out in Peaster, no matter what happens these next 50, 60 years. Because it's always the first one two people remember the most. And so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
kudos to them. Definitely a great year. A couple of schools in that district, like IP, may be going up. I think Ponder might be going up, but like Peaster, I think sticking
Yeah.
around. So I don't know if Peaster will fall in with our area teams the next 2 years when realignment comes out, but um, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for sure. Can we talk about
Well,
Alito now?
let's do it. Let's talk about
Okay.
Alito. It is the game of the night, the result of the night, the shock of the night, right? Because I mean, you can make that argument. Well, Wall beating Gunter. I mean, Gunter's
No,
a
Wall
big
was
name that
favored this
fell.
time.
Refurio's a big name to fell. Wall was favored, yeah. Refurio, a
Yeah.
big name to fell. That's a little bit closer to what this is, but this is Alito. This is the winningest. This team win state title after state title. Does not matter what classification they go to. They go and they contend. And when they get to this playoffs, they don't tend to lose. And they lost tonight.
And
Nolan,
not
you were
only that
watching
they
it. Take us through it. Yeah,
Well,
let Nolan talk, Zach.
okay. Well,
yeah.
well, I was flipping between that and the broad game, so it might be a little boring. But it was the first game I turned on because it started first, And I told y'all within the first 5 minutes, Alito scored 2 times. It was 14-0, just like that. I was like, this is going to be another Alito massacre. They're going to cruise their way to a state victory before they go up to 6A next year. So I flip it back over as I'm paying attention to the score. I start noticing Frisco Lone Star is starting to match touchdown for touchdown. I believe it was maybe like 28-21 going into halftime. So I turn it back over because it was the first game to end up coming back into the second half between the two games. And it was pretty much what it was reflecting from the score. I mean, each offense was just scoring, as you can tell from the final score. That point, I kind of come to my computer, start working on graphics, putting in final scores, getting stuff ready. I noticed that game's still going on, so I pull it up. The last score I remember seeing was 52-35 with 8 minutes left. And so I wrote it off. That's why I wasn't watching it. I turn it back on my computer, and I watch Lone Star recover a onside kick with 2 minutes left, and they're down 52-49. I'm like, what in the world has happened here? Inside that 2 minutes, they are able to go down the field. The quarterback, super quick. He made a lot of plays on his feet, scrambling, and then ended up capping off on a quick slant to finish the drive. And then, Frisco Lone Star scored 21 unanswered points in the final 8 minutes to win that game over Alito. Alito was 15-point favorites in that game. They were 15-point favorites last week against Dan Ryan and blew them out of the water. So I don't think anybody really had Frisco Lone Star winning tonight. But that's what I saw on my end here at home tonight.
And that's an Alito team who was allowing 7 points per game, and they played some dudes. Like it's not like they had like the cupcake schedule. Played a really good schedule, and they were like they gave up 14 points they didn't Geyer. Like that's how good they are. And and didn't Geyer, is a really good team. And so they gave up more points in like the last 8 minutes of this fourth quarter than they had all year in any game. That's true. Like they had gave up more points in the last 8 minutes than they had in any game all year. And so Frisco Lone Star, man, that's crazy. I think Greg Tepper, Dave Campbell said it's the first time since 07-08 Alito not in back-to-back two straight title games. So that doesn't sound to me. Like I said, I wrote that story today about how I like the new blood. Instead, Frisco Lone Star going to play Smithson Valley Friday night for a state title. So, and Smithson Valley had a close win against Port Arthur Memorial. I know we probably don't have any Smithson Valley Port Arthur Memorial watchers tonight, but that was a game that I was kind of interested in. Was seemed close the whole way, and that was a 31-28 Smithson Valley one.
Yeah, I think Port Arthur Memorial, they were up big at halftime. I want to say it was like 21-3. And
Oh,
I don't
wow.
know. Smithson Valley must have had a huge second half to come back and win that one. But that looked like a good game.
You saw Brock Carthage. I, I wish I would say I'd be surprised, but I mean Carthage is such a beast and beat down, and that game seemed like it kind of got away from Brock early. And Brock's had a great year, a really great year. First loss all season, finished 14-1 or whatever. But what did you see from that Carthage Brock game?
Yeah, they actually started out pretty well. Carthage opened up the scoring. Brock was moving the ball really well. Got down inside the 5. They were fixed to score a touchdown and fumbled the ball through the back of the end zone. So it went from being a tie game to Carthage having the ball. They were able to get a defensive stop and then able to tie it up 7-7. And then from there on out, not taking anything away from Carthage. Carthage is Carthage. They're a really good team. It's just a team you don't pick against in the playoffs. But I feel like Brock really didn't help themselves tonight to be able to pull off that upset. I feel like they turned the ball over. I don't have the exact number on the top of my head. They turned it over numerous times from what I watched, made numerous mistakes. And that's something you can't do against a powerhouse like Carthage, and it eventually just ran away from them.
You saw Brock have that issue, at times this season. They had that issue the first time they played Graham this year. It's the first time, the only time they played Graham this year. And then in the regular season, they turned the ball over numerous times against Graham. And, their defense was good enough to stifle that Graham offense. But, Carthage, they got a running back there that's Division I. I'm assuming he's still committed to Ohio State because he was at one point. you don't commit to Ohio State unless you're a dude. So yeah, that says enough. And so that you can't, like you said, you can't give a team with that kind of firepower. I don't care how good your defense is. You cannot give a team with that kind of firepower extra possessions. And that was the mistake that they obviously made there. If they made those turnovers, and man, turnovers end your season in a hurry, especially in the postseason. And so, I you hate to say anything, right? Like I can't see this team losing. I can't see that happening. But it is. It's always hard, like you say. It's one of those teams in the playoffs, state championship games. You don't pick against Coach Scott Surratt and Carthage. They just are going to figure out a way to win that game more times than not.
I
And
think he's got more state titles than like playoff losses. So
yeah,
like that's
yeah, pretty sure you're right.
that's really hard. That's really hard to do. Like that shouldn't
Yes,
happen.
right.
So
Like he's the Joe Lombard of Texas high school football, right? Like
yeah,
it's just
he is.
so much, you know, when the win percentage is ridiculous. And yeah, he's as good as it gets in this game. And so, you definitely feel like you're picking them again. And I know they're going to play West Orange Stark, who uh, really to me has surged more late in the season than they have throughout it, and maybe catching right time. I just think Carthage just got too much right now to get them loaded. So guys, we do have a good idea for most of that state field. We got 4 6A games tomorrow. I know we'll all be paying attention to that. In the meantime, like you got that Army Navy game we got to watch tomorrow too, man. That's always a must watch for me every year, college football wise. But uh, you know, Allen and Duncanville matching up. I mean, massive matchup at the 6A level tomorrow. Of course, CE King down there, and that I really want to see them play and see what they have to offer. That's a team down toward that Houston area. I don't always see a whole lot of. We kind of lose those East Texas down towards the coastal South area a little bit, so they get out of our range some. So I'm excited, guys. I mean, we're getting ready. It's time to kind of stepping up. I know all of us are looking at, hey, got to file those credentials, get ready to get there next week and get to AT&T Stadium and see some state championship football. Zach, you've gotten to do it multiple times, and Nolan got your first taste of state championship football last year, and it's just special. It's just a special, special thing when you get to get into Jerry World and see these teams show down like that.
Yeah, and there's one division I kind of want to touch on tonight that we haven't talked about yet. It was kind of boring tonight, but it's definitely not going to be boring. It's going to kick off the action Saturday morning, the final day of football. You had South Oak Cliff and Melissa. They actually played at the Cotton Bowl tonight. Pretty cool deal for each team. But South Oak Cliff, #1 team in that division for a reason. Beat Melissa 35-17. Other side of the bracket, Richmond Randall, who's really good, defeated Bernie 40-16. So we get a rematch in that classification next Saturday between #1, #2, South Oak Cliff, Richmond Randall. That's going to be a really good game on a packed Saturday. I can't wait for that Saturday. There's going to be good football from high school to college to NFL that day. So I'm stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Saturday's loaded.
Mm-hmm.
That SOC Melissa game sounded like the cops were involved and there were multiple fights. I just kept seeing stuff on Twitter, but it sounded like it was quite the. And they played down in Fair Park at the Cotton Bowl, which was pretty cool. But yeah, it sounded like that was kind of an intense atmosphere for that. So, hey, you know who we have to give a shout out to real quick too?
Hit it.
The Midwestern State men's soccer team, because they just won their semifinal tonight 3-0, and they are playing for the school's first national title, team title in any sport on Sunday. So that's pretty crazy. They've had a lot of really good teams. I know this is a football podcast and not a football podcast, but that's pretty cool for a team, in Wichita Falls to be playing for a national title. So I don't even know what time they're in Colorado, but they're playing Rollins on sometime on Sunday. So be on the
Only
lookout for
one
that.
national, regardless of team or whatever. And I know there's a club there at that Midwestern State that likes to battle this fact or to dispute this fact, but there's only one national champion in the history of the Midwestern State Athletic Program, correct? And
Yeah,
being
it's Brenna
Brenna
Moore.
Moore. Yeah.
Yeah. Burke Burnett golfer.
Burke Burnett golfer won the women's national championship in golf. And that's been about 10. It's been 10 years. I think it's been 10 years, right?
I
It's been a
covered her
minute.
playing. Yeah, I covered her playing state golf in like 09 or 10 at Burke. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
been
me
a
too.
minute. Yeah, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no one was 4. No one was in pre-K that year.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
That's right. Well, good deal. Yeah, congrats to MSU. Good luck in that national title game, and man, that'd be a great thing for them to bring back. Just sports going crazy right now. Man, December's a fun time of year for football, and turns out for football as well. So, guys, let's hang it up. We're going to do this again next week. Put a bow on this thing for the state championship game, but also join us early next week. We're going to do a special early week show, 7 p.m. Monday. We're going to get on here and we're going to preview all of the state championship games. So get on here, follow Falls Friday Night for that. Man, it's been a blast so far. Can't believe we're to the last week of doing this. And then, of course, I know all of us kind of committed to doing this again. We're going to be live from realignment day, from Region 9 on realignment day, and there in February too. So still plenty to come from Falls Friday Night, 940 Game Day, Red River Roundup. Be on all of our socials. We're going to keep you in tune with all the football action and more coming up in the next few months. So for Zach Duncan, Nolan Clark, I'm Jonathan Hull. Thank you for joining us Falls Friday Night. Stay tuned and listen to our sponsors.
Tonight's broadcast of Falls Friday Night was brought to you by Arrowhead Roofing. For more than 25 years, Arrowhead Roofing has been Texoma's trusted name for roofing, siding, gutters, and more. When storms hit or it's time for an upgrade, call the team Texoma has relied on since 1999. Arrowhead Roofing, the exterior experts. And Macaulay Landscapes. For 21 years, Macaulay Landscapes has been keeping Wichita Falls beautiful. Visit MacaulayLandscapes.com to learn more about their full range of services. Macaulay Landscapes, making Wichita Falls look its best since 2003. That wraps up another edition of Falls Friday Night. Every score, every story, every Friday.